Hi, this is Heather with AustinLifestyles.com, and today, South by Southwest 2009, we have an amazing, incredible blogger, Twitter, friend feed, all-around cool guy, Louis Gray.
Good morning. Appreciate the intro.
Absolutely. So first of all, I want to say they can find him at louisgray.com. And tell us a little bit about you and what you do on louisgray.com and all the different steps you're involved in.
Sure, absolutely appreciate that. So I'm an early adopter, really get into technology when it's just getting started and try and figure out where it's going to go. One of the things I've really tried to do on the site is not only take a look at popular companies that are already out there, things like Google and Apple and Technorati, but also try and take a look at companies that are just getting started. You mentioned FriendFeed at the opener. Yeah. I really kind of looked at FriendFeed probably about 2 years ago and said this is an interesting company, really like the background behind it, what it can do. And what it can do is really kind of aggregate all the activity of everything you're doing online, be it Twitter, Flickr, blog posts, and really put them in just one place. And so if you can have a single place to get all the activity and then have a discussion around it with friends, it makes sense. And so I've seen a lot of different sites try and do the same thing, and they've done a good job building the community. I've watched a lot of things happen in terms of Google Reader growing out, having new RSS functionality, new comments that are embedded, new ways to share the blog and get that out there. But really, the whole purpose of the blog is to find out what I'm saying that's interesting in terms of seeing the technology evolve and finding people who agree and like to hear about it.
Now you're here in a panel. I thought
that's right.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about that.
So the panel is called Beyond Aggregation. And Beyond Aggregation essentially means what are you doing after you get all the content in one place? There's a lot of information out there on the web. I just mentioned Google Reader. I'm subscribed to about 400 different feeds focused on technology, business, sports, you name it. And so how do you take all that data, find the best data, and get it to the top and share it with friends? And so there's a number of tools for that. I'm on there with Marshall Kirkpatrick from Read Write Web, Gabe Rivera from TechMeme, Mihai Baldwin from Legit. And it's really going to be a lot of fun trying to see how these people try and find the data fast and get it out there.
Now, how will you do that? Can you give us a little tip on that? Because that's really a good point. We have so much information, we aggregate it in one place. Now what?
I'd love to say the solution is read fast. And it kind of is, it first means be selective in the terms of the data that you're taking in. If I subscribe to 2,000 different blogs, if I'm subscribed to fashion and style and things I obviously don't care about, we'd want to make sure that we want to get out of that and focus most likely on those things that not only am I going to like, but people who I'm talking with also like. So for me, I've really honed in on getting Google Reader. It's the fastest way to read a lot of feeds quickly, but then back that up with things that people are finding on places like FriendFeed and Twitter and TechMeme. TechMeme is basically handled by Gabe. Gabe goes out and finds the best of the day and highlights that. FriendFeed and Twitter are more crowdsourced, and so I can find out what my friends in Silicon Valley are seeing. I can find out what my family is seeing, or even, quote-unquote, real-world friends. What are they saying? And so it really is a good way to find out what the community is saying, and those things bubble to the top if I would have missed it from somewhere else.
Now, you have a blog, Twitter, FriendFeed. I understand that you were one of the first to actually subscribe to FriendFeed. Is that right?
I wouldn't say one of the first. I was one of the first to kind of talk about it a lot, and so I got a little bit intertwined with the service. FriendFeed launched in October of 2007 by a number of people from Google. People who ran Gmail, Google Maps, Google Reader, a lot of things that are scalable and have grown that people are using on their day-to-day. So I started using it probably 2 to 3 weeks in and found it to be a really good tool just to take everything I was talking about and put it in one place. And they've just continued to iterate and grow and grow. And so I recognized the potential there and started talking about it 2 to 3 months in and really saw a lot of people come into it.
Awesome. Now, how big is your reach on your blog that you would say?
Well, I think if you're inwardly statistically focused, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, but it has been good to get kind of that visual feedback of people who are following up and having good conversations. If I were to look at the counts, it's probably around 5,000 people are subscribed. On Twitter and FriendFeed, it's about the same amount. It might be the exact same people, 5,000 to 7,000. That doesn't mean that everybody comes every day, but at least they're checking in. And so we will get good comments to the tune of a few dozen a day, and that's good.
And what's your biggest project you're working on now that you want to promote or talk about?
Well, it's always, you look at the blog and then you look at the day job, and so, or you look at twins. I've got twin 8.5-month-old, and so they're the biggest project, and so they take a lot of work. But on top of that, the blog is a lot of fun because I want to be able to find something new and talk about it. Every single day I wake up and I don't know what I'm going to write about. So it's not like I have a set agenda, in 2 days this is going to come out, in 5 days this is going to come out, or there's something new. You always start the day with a clean slate, put it all out there, and then start over the next day. So that's a lot of fun.
Great philosophy, actually. And you have 2 twin.
That's right.
8-month-old?
8.5-months-old. That's right.
Wow. 2 boys, 2 girls.
A boy and a girl, actually. It's like you couldn't have made a better script. It's one of those things that when the kids were on their way, everyone said, "You are doomed. Life as you know it is going to come to an end." So everyone said, your blogging's going to go away. There's no way you're going to be as active on Twitter and friend feed as you are now. It's a challenge. So I said, bring it, right? And so the kids at the beginning, it's really easy. You can hold them and they're sleeping. But as they get more active and involved, I can't get the laptop out with them wanting to press the keys. So it is a little bit of work. And you'll find that the times that I blog are usually when they're asleep, which is probably between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. that day.
Well, that all works. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to interview with us. Is there anything else you want to say to end up?
Just, it's been a pleasure. This is my first time at South by Southwest.
Awesome.
I've attended other conferences before, haven't really gotten out in a big way. And with the kids being so small, I have to thank my wife for taking care of them. But enjoyed South by Southwest. I've gotten to really meet a lot of people who I've only met virtually online, and this is a great step.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Louis Gray. And
at
South by Southwest, AustinLifestyles.com. Thanks. Okay, Louis, so let's ask about what are the new applications that are coming on board? What are things happening with the iPhone and some other applications? What's kind of happening out there?
What I've noticed a lot is that in the last few months there's been a real change in the innovation scale. You used to see new applications coming out every single day, people trying to make a big bang. And the slowness in the economy has really affected just about everyone. And so what they're doing is not just launching net new services, but they're tying into existing ones. So you're seeing a lot of services that are integrating with things like Twitter, things like Facebook, things that have really grown to have critical mass in terms of millions of users. And so what they're trying to do is get a good user base and then build on and start something new. There are still going to be those new projects out there. I really like things like GNIP. GNIP, it's G-N-I-P, like ping spelled backwards, where they go out and try and get the fastest way to update all your networks all at once. There's interesting things coming out, one called Foursquare, which is by the former people who did Dodgeball, which later got acquired by Google. It's really an interesting way to try and set people's location and kind of have a contest with friends saying, I was here first, and are you following? And so we're kind of watching that. But there's a lot of different tools. Like yesterday, Facebook had some big announcements around Facebook Connect. First was that they were attaching to the iPhone. iPhone, again, a user base of millions of people are really enjoying the product. But these iPhone applications are now getting you to play against friends, no matter where they are, responsible, or, depending on location. So you could be at your desktop and playing against your mother who's on her iPhone somewhere else. And that's all done through Facebook Connect. Facebook has really been focused on having your true identity. So it's not facebook.com and then you have some fake avatar I made up. It actually says Louis Gray, and that's me, and it has my background. So I can play my mom, I can play my wife, I can play friends who I've met through FriendFeed and Twitter and do that. You also see people like Seismic. Loic Lemur was here yesterday and did a big announcement saying that Seismic has the first dedicated desktop application to update your Facebook status right on your computer. And so we've seen a lot of interesting things that are developing around already successful tools like Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, very cool. So there's a lot of things going on out there. That's interesting you talk about there's not very many new innovations, but they're add-ons, more add-ons so you have a bigger base versus creating new applications. I think that's interesting.
It's a difficult market out there, just about for everybody. I think even the biggest companies, and you know who they are, the GMs and the banks, the people who you thought were completely stable just aren't anymore. And so when you look back at a culture that's full of risk in a startup where 9 out of 10 at least fail, you're increasing the amount of failure at this point. And so people are just going with what's known. They're taking less risk. You're seeing that initial rounds that used to be $10 to $20 million raised are now maybe $500K, $2 million, $3 million. It's more about seed funding and angels, working with who you know, and it could be more about the entrepreneurs who are starting the service than the actual value of the service.
Where do you see the next few years going? Like, let's say 2-3 years out with what's going on in the economy currently and what you're seeing in the program and developing?
I'm not an economist, and I think a lot of economists got it wrong when they guessed last time, and so if I guess here, I'll be wrong. An interesting discussion was brought up by Charlene Lee, formerly of Forrester, now at the Altimeter, and she did a presentation yesterday talking about the future of social networks and where they're going. And in her comments, it really said social networking is going to be like air. Today we go to Facebook, we go to MySpace, we go to LinkedIn, we go to Twitter, we go to social sites. And she says people are going to laugh at that in 5, 10, 15 years, and you're going to say social elements are just going to be part of the background. Why not go to Amazon.com and see reviews just from your friends, as opposed to the entire world at large? Because obviously the friends are going to have more value. She also speculated, what if you go to the New York Times and you see an ad? It should not only be personalized to you, but they should get a higher CPM and be forced to pay more because you have more value, or your friends have more value.
Interesting.
So really interesting talking about integrating the social into everything.
Social media will be like air.
That's what she said.
That's amazing. That's really good. Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate you. Appreciate this very much. And again, thanks.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.